If you believe in the asset, you should not be even thinking about anything for at least 4 to 5 years anyway, preferably 10, 15, 20 or forever. But there is no one who's ever bought Bitcoin any point of time and they've held for 4 years and they've been at a loss.
Bitcoin's not really like an intelligence test, it's an ego test. They need to stop and realize that they just don't know what they don't know. New information, because Bitcoin is new and it's not really complex, but it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to study and understand. And we say 100 hours. So like however long someone takes to do that 100 hours, somebody could do that in a month, 2 months. Somebody else may take 5 years to put 100 hours into Bitcoin and get 100 hours of exposure. What's that price difference?
Welcome to Stack and Strength. I'm your host, John, and this is where we will discuss about Bitcoin and fitness, my favorite proof of work concepts. Today we have with us Sean Clarke, and it's a fun conversation. We will discuss mostly about Bitcoin being the path to financial freedom, Bitcoin being the inflation hedge, Sean's personal experiences with a 65-year-old person, how he orange pilled them, proof of work, both in fitness and Bitcoin. So let's take it to the main man himself. Sean, thank you for making it as my first guest to the first episode of Stack and Strength. I've been following you for a while on X. We've also got connected back in a project in 2022, which I totally understand we don't want to discuss about at all.
Just stay away from shitcoins, kids.
Away. It's in bold letters. So for the new listeners who would not know you, if anyone would watch through this stream, if you could give a brief introduction about yourself, your hobbies, or anything else that you want to share today.
Yeah, cool. So, g'day, my name's Sean Clarke. I'm host of the G'day Bitcoin YouTube channel for a while. So like now I just do podcasts with the best and brightest within Bitcoin, and I get those conversations out there. Last year and sort of like 18 months. For about 18 months, I was doing the Bitcoin News live show 5 days a week, which was really incredible. It obviously allowed me to go deeper down the rabbit hole myself and sort of see the patterns and what would come up with these fear, uncertainty, doubt, FUD cycles, or the FOMO, the fear of missing out cycles with Bitcoin's price and stuff. So that was a good journey. But then obviously with the US election, Bitcoin went super political, and I still covered it at that stage. And I'm just not interested in politics at all. To me, Bitcoin's the separation of money from state, in the words of Nico Moran from Simply Bitcoin. But I kept doing it, and then we're going into like the Australian elections and stuff, and I'm like, just screw this. I'm not covering the news. I've had enough politics. So it's just the podcast at the moment, but on Fountain, and that goes out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. And then as for hobbies, similar to yourself, John, is putting in the proof of work, going to the gym 5 days a week. I was there this morning, went for a swim straight after. So I really like dialing in to discipline, like you're saying, my morning, my evening routines, and talking to like my younger self or to somebody else. They're like, that sounds so boring. Like you do the same thing every single day. You're trying to get to bed at 7:37 each night, lights out at 9 o'clock, read for a couple of hours, stretch like being the last thing you do, wake up, do your push-ups. And they're like, I couldn't do it. It's so boring. But I really believe discipline frees up the rest of your life. And then obviously stack and sat. Can't get enough of doing that. And then my biggest hobby is flying like light aircraft, general aviation.
Wow. Bitcoiner, surfer, and flying, bro.
Well, there's no surfing up here. I was into kiteboarding as a kid, but just to be out in the ocean, do a lot of like spearfishing, snorkeling, free diving and stuff. And this morning the ocean's like dead flat. It's glassed out, so I'm not sure if I'll jump on the jet ski straight after this. Although I do have a big day with the company and stuff, but it's cooling. It's cooling me, brother.
That is just awesome, man. You're living the Queensland life. Sunny. Is it sunny? Is it beautiful weather today?
It's perfect. It's going to be like scorching hot. I reckon it's already 30 degrees Celsius. So for the American listeners, I think that's 60. It's probably about 100 degrees.
What a legend, man. Like that's just, you made it sound so like just nothing, like snorkeling and, flying. That's some awesome goals, bro.
Just on that, like it didn't happen overnight with
Yes.
Bitcoin. And like so many people come into Bitcoin, they're like going to put everything I have in it, whether it's a couple of $100, couple of thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. The average person isn't putting millions in at once, but whatever like size fiat stack they are buying originally, you like put it in and you're like, oh, invest in this magic internet money. It's done like huge over its history. In 1 year, I'm going to be super rich. I'm going to retire my bloodline and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. And like living this life and looking out at the reef and the islands and to be able to go flying and stuff, that didn't happen overnight. Like I had my pilot's license 7 or 8 years ago. And then I got into Bitcoin 6 years ago. And then after like 6 months of being in Bitcoin, I'm like, I'm going to stop flying. My greatest passion for the next 4 years, just to be able to stack sats. And I did that every 2 weeks. And now I've done that for like every 2 weeks for the last 5.5 years. And then I got to the 4 year mark and I'm like, okay, this is going so well. I've got big dreams. Flying is like all I want to do. Every time I walk outside, I work outside, I look up at the clouds, I think about flying, but I'm like, no, at the moment we've got this opportunity. The dollar is crashing. I'm going to go for another year. So I ended up not flying for 5 years and 1 month. And then I got to 5 years and 1 month. I'm like, Sean, like, this is crazy. Like, you need to still like live your life and do the things that you want to do. But I say that to take that mentality when it comes to Bitcoin or when it comes to your body or when it comes to your diet or whatever. We don't need everything today, just now. We want to change our time preference. We want to have a low time preference so that we don't need everything right now like a crack addict would. You can extend it out. You can have your dreams and be like, I'm going to do what is hard today so my life can be easy later down the track. But with digital IDs and CBDCs, and I'm happy to get into that, we've only got a short period of time to be able to get Bitcoin. So like everything else, like all of that can wait. But for the people that have been here for a while, like I'm not spending my Bitcoin on flying or anything like that. I've increased my skills to be able to have more fiat, to still be able to save in Bitcoin and then go out and play and do those things, you know, but like not overextending myself and going on like crazy holidays and buying an aeroplane and stuff as much as I want to. I'm like, Bitcoin's still on sale. Like that's what the goal needs to be at the moment. This is where I need to focus, at least for the next couple of years.
You've touched on so many awesome points in this message here. Like, consistency is key. It did not happen overnight. It was over a period of time. You decided to do that. You sacrificed what you really wanted to do in terms of the passion so that you could stack that, so you could have a better living later. So your time preference, you understood that time preference is what needs to be adjusted and you need to have a low time preference. Do not go for instant gratification. It's not an instant get rich quick scheme or something. It's funny, bro. Like, so I had successfully orange pilled a few people lately and
well done.
Got their toes dipped in and then explain to them exactly what I would do. Like, don't bother about news, politics, or what US president is doing or the Chinese dudes are doing or Australian government is doing. Don't worry about anything. Bitcoin doesn't need anyone. Everyone will need Bitcoin. Just think that, right? You need to focus what value you can bring to society, how much value you can provide, and what you can generate out of it, right? If you generate fiat out of that value, use that fiat, which is going to lose the purchasing power, and accumulate as much sats as you could for yourself and your next generation. Do not look for temporary price action. Do not think that, this, oh my God, it was 100, it's 95 now. Oh, John, it's 90 now. What shall I do? I'm like, buy more. Like, do you have money? If you have money, buy more. If you believe in it, if you believe in the asset, you should not be even thinking about anything for at least 4 to 5 years anyway. I mean, preferably 10, 15, 20 or forever. But there is no one who's ever bought Bitcoin any point of time, and they've held for 4 years and they've been at a loss. Even if you if you bought at 126 right now at the top, you hold it for 4 years, you would not be at the same price. So don't worry about it. People are at a different stage, and it's very natural to get a bit fearful. And it's just how human psychology works. Even right now, the fear and greed index is at 11. Like the FTX collapse was at 15. Billions liquidated from the market, exchanges collapsed, Terra Luna crash happened, and then we are lower than that. A year ago, at this time, because I clearly remember this, because I was about to expect my baby girl, like just a month into it, we were not touching 100K. We were around that figure, and it was ecstasy that, oh my God, Bitcoin gonna touch 100K. Now we're around that mark. Like we're at 90 or whatever, 87 today. It's extreme panic. Like it's just interesting. Like a few months ago when the gold prices were soaring, you could see people queuing up outside the bullion exchanges. Oh, to buy gold at the peak. And I'm like, probably not when you want to buy it. I mean, nothing against gold, but that's probably not when you wanted to buy it, right? And that's exactly how it works. And we are trying to pass this message. Bitcoin doesn't work like that. The most finite asset that you could ever hold. It is the future of finance. You need to have some exposure to it. And obviously, we cannot give you any financial advice or anything like that. I'm not a financial advisor. It is obviously information and educational, but you got to make that decision for yourself, your next generations. They will come back to you and say, Mom, Dad, why didn't you not listen to those two handsome dudes in Australia? So yeah, man, jokes apart. So yeah, let's quickly get into the meat and potatoes. If you want to explain, or you meet someone who does not have any idea about what Bitcoin is, they've heard about Bitcoin, but they don't know what Bitcoin is essentially, how we know it. How would you orange pill that person?
Yeah, of course, John. I think one of the main things I do when I'm talking to someone, whoever it is just ask if they're saving in cash at the moment, and you'll get like a yes or a no. And they're like, oh, why do you ask? And I'm like, what's the cost of living like been for you over the last year, over the last two, sort of since COVID? Oh, like the money's not going as far. I'm like, do you know why that is? And they're like, no, because like the grocers, especially here in Australia, like Coles and Woolworths, where you go to buy your food from, they're price gouging. And you're like, actually, it's not the case. The reason why your money's not going as far is because the government keeps printing money. I'm like, that's okay. They just need to keep doing that. Mathematically, they can't stop printing money. So we're losing 7 to 11% per year in purchasing power if you're saving in cash. There's this thing that I've been saving in for the last couple of years called Bitcoin. Have you heard about it? They're like, oh yeah, isn't that like this magic internet money? Or isn't Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? Or didn't it crash or whatever? You're like, crash, yeah, like it's sitting at 87,000K today, but like 4 or 5 years ago, I was at $3,000. Like, yeah, short term, there's been a crash. They're like, oh, it's that much. And you're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I don't have 87,000 to be able to buy one. You're like, hang on, like take a step back. You don't even understand. And I'm just saying, like, I've been saving in this better money technology. Do you read books? And a lot of people do. They're like, yeah, I read books. I'm like, okay, I'll go to the car and I'll give him The Big Print, which is a book by Lawrence Lepard. It's absolutely amazing. There you go. And I've got a couple of copies. There's 2 in the glove box at the moment. I'll give them a copy of The Big Print. Or if they're like, no, I'm not a reader, I'll give them What's the Problem by Joe Bryan, that YouTube video to be able to watch. Usually give them my phone number. And then if you've got any questions, but I said, like, I strongly urge you to at least understand what Bitcoin is and why it's a solution. But you're only going to get there through your own like proof of work by reading the books. And from there, that's sort of like where I stop. And if I see him in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, I'll come back and be like, did you read the book? Not yet. You probably want to. Like Bitcoin's on sale, but that's on you. And depending on like what time frame or whatever, or with some family, it's been going on for years and years and years. And I'll just be like, you will need to understand Bitcoin at some stage, but unfortunately the price is going to keep going up and up and up. But really, John, like it's come to the point where you can give people these little bits of information, you can give them the resources, the Big Print, Parallel, Bitcoin Evangelism, the Bitcoin Standard, whatever, all the podcasts and stuff. And hopefully people watching this, if you are very new, please just pick up a book or just start consuming heaps and heaps and heaps of podcasts. That What's That Problem by Joe Bryan. It's incredible. I've come to the realization, John, that we can't really orange pill people. We can just sort of plant that seed and we can be like, this is what I'm doing. Everything's gotten cheaper in my life over the last couple of years, over the last 6 years, over the last 4 years, over the last 2 years. Bitcoin's been sideways for the last year. But like you're saying, when you get into Bitcoin, have that mindset of this Bitcoin's never going to be touched for 4 or 5 years. And I learned that like very early in my journey. I don't know if there's Andre Antonopoulos or something, but it just like stuck in there. So I'm like, I'm going to stack week in, week out. Well, it's every 2 weeks, like fortnight in, fortnight out for the last 5.5 years now. But I had that goal of like 4 years, and then I'm like, I'm going to go another year, and I'm still stacking week in, week out. But I think by saying to people, you just need to do it for 4 years, it's great because you got the Bitcoin history that nobody's been in a loss. But also, if someone's stacking week in, week out, or whatever it is on a consistent basis for 4 years, they're going to get to the 4 years. They've already put in the proof of work. They've gone down the rabbit hole and done it. And then they're just going to keep doing it. They realize Bitcoin's better savings technology. But for the very new person and the person that you're targeting, John, I find that the most effective way to get somebody to orange pill themselves is just to start to get them to question their own thoughts about saving in money or in investing in property. Bitcoin 1 Million by Fred Krueger, that's got some like great excerpts that you can pull out in regards to property or bonds or stocks or whatever, and why Bitcoin's the superior asset. But Bitcoin's not really like an intelligence test, it's an ego test. They need to stop and realize that they just don't know what they don't know. So they just need new information, because Bitcoin is new and it's not really complex, but it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to study and understand. And we say 100 hours. So like however long someone takes to do that 100 hours, somebody could do that in a month, 2 months. Somebody else may take 5 years to put 100 hours into Bitcoin or get 100 hours of exposure. What's that price difference, when you start saving in that?
What a point, man. It is such an excellent hedge against inflation, right? There is none better than that. On a separate note, thank you, Larry. This is such an awesome read. So thank you, sir. Thank you for bringing this to the masses. And whoever's listening, if you're a reader, please read it. It's on Amazon. Maybe I'll put the link in there. Go and have a read. You will get a better understanding of. There are many other books, as Sean mentioned, Bitcoin Evangelism, Bitcoin Standard, but then it could get a bit technical with the Bitcoin Standard. If you want to go on a easy note first, so Big Print is good. Then you got a lot of books. Rather than this Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. I've got that. I haven't started that yet, but
it's so good.
Yeah,
just quickly, and for the readers or for the non-readers, there's Audible. So you can have Walker America, he's another Bitcoiner. He reads this book. Safedine reads his book. But I wouldn't recommend the Bitcoin Standard either as the first book. If somebody reads one other book and then they really want to dive deep, I think that's great. Or if they're very, very academic, the Bitcoin Standard's amazing. For the average punter, the Big Print, like it goes through some very complex topics, but he just breaks it down that an average 7th grader could understand. It's a miracle. I think if someone reads it front to back or listens front to back, like that's how easy it is. It's not even hard. I don't feel like reading. That's fine. Get somebody else to read it for you while you're driving around or you're going for a walk or whatever. Almost like hardly any effort, a couple of dollars to buy the book, and you're learning knowledge. Like Lawrence Lepard sold his business, like I think in the 1980s or something, for $250 million US. He worked on Wall Street. He was one of the very few people that pushed back against Wall Street when they were giving themselves pats on the back after the 08-09 financial crisis. He directly called him out. And okay, like I don't feel like reading, that's fine. Spend the $13 on Audible to get that knowledge imparted from his brain that he spent a lifetime acquiring, learning about money, everything like that. He's got a gold, he's got a Bitcoin hedge fund. Like, it's not hard. We can just soak it in through osmosis, and then you get to like listen to an incredible story, but an incredible story that's going to change your life. But it still always comes back to people have to push buy. They need to download Audible. It's not hard. They just need to get themselves out of the way and actually just do it. And everyone's so busy running on the rat race, and they need to work twice as hard to stay exactly the same place. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. And then what happens? Like CBDCs, digital IDs, and then people are proper fiat slaves.
You need to get out of your comfort zone, no matter what it's doing, whether it's improving your health, whether it's fitness or investing. You have to get out of your comfort zone, get into a territory which is probably new or unknown, but you get as much information as possible. If you, as Sean mentioned, if you're not a reader, listen to people. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of people who've been there who actually want to help get you the information. If you read this, you will start getting an understanding that yes, Bitcoin is a very good hedge against inflation. So unlike fiat currencies, it has a fixed supply. It's not unlimited. It has a fixed cap at 21 million. I think the last fractions of the SAT gets in the year 21 40 or something. So while there is short-term volatility, long-term Bitcoin always protects your purchasing power. So over the past 16 years, it has outperformed every asset class, right? It's not just a hedge. It's an escape from the inflationary systems. Sean, do moms and dads or single parents or students or beginners enter or get their toes dipped in Bitcoin without getting intimidated? Because this was a very recent experience. One was a family member who I got into it, and then one was a very old friend. So for me, it's like I would always say, start slow. Don't go, don't sell your house and put all that money together. Start slow, buy small amounts. Whatever amount is it's okay for you to invest from. Don't chase prices. Don't get intimidated by price action. Obviously, use reputable exchanges, and I give them on what I would use in Australia if they are in Australia, and then most importantly, get them out of the exchange to your custody, right? In your custody. And I tell them how to do that. And it's a longer process. And another important point is avoid any other altcoin or any hype or any new narrative that you may listen or hey, this is the new Bitcoin. Oh, yep. ZEC is the new Bitcoin. Hell no. Last cycle, Ethereum was about to flip Bitcoin. Before that, it was something else. Do not listen to all this. Begin with education, obviously, Bitcoin podcasts, books, communities, meetups, if you have the time and if that's, something that you can do. But what's your take on this where people don't get intimidated?
Yeah. So the easiest way is just to be able to provide a real life example with a 65-year-old lady that I met at a cafe 4 weeks ago now. I went to a cafe as a Monday morning. Actually, my wife likes me to work out away from the house on Mondays just so she can do her own thing, stomping around making noise. But anyway, went to the cafe, set up, and my old boss from 8 years ago, maybe, was having breakfast and stuff. And I'd ordered a decaf coffee and some scrambled eggs with salmon. And he's like, come join us. I'm like, I would join you just for the meal. And then I have to get into work. I had a big day and stuff. Anyway, talking and he's like, this is the Bitcoin guy. And then this lady's like, oh, sort of interested. I got a little bit of that. And it hasn't been doing too well. And Bitcoin was at an all-time high or close to about a month ago. I'm like, what do you mean it's not doing all too well? She's like, oh, they're all over the place. I'm like, what do you mean they're all over the place? She's like, well, I'm like, what do you mean when you say you have Bitcoin? She's like, well, I've got XRP and I've got Ethereum and Solana and stuff like that. I'm like, it's your money, it's your choice. But when I talk about Bitcoin, I'm strictly just talking about holding sovereign money. It's money that can't be debased, it can't be confiscated. No institution, entity, corporation can get in the way when you take self-custody, when you do it properly. And it's the greatest store of value and the best performing asset in all of human history, not in the last 16 years, in all of human history that we're aware of, which is pretty impressive. And it's only 16 years old. But anyway, going down and she's like, okay, what do you suggest? And she was on an exchange, a centralized exchange, but it had all these coins. I'm like, personally, what I do is I'm on Ambrap, which is a Bitcoin only exchange run by Izzy and Paul. Incredible people. That's what I use. There's absolutely no distractions. I'm like, in regards to those altcoins, I call them shit coins. She's like, oh, 65-year-old lady. I'm swearing in front of her. She was super cool. And I'm like, at best, an investment in a tech play. At the very best, most of them, they're just a scam. They're a Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin's different. While they are both cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is basically just digital gold. It's money, and that's what I'm here for, the separation of money from state. So I sort of made that clear. And then we ended up selling all our altcoins, putting it into Bitcoin. And then we set her up on AmberApp and got Paul on the phone from AmberApp there while we're at the table at breakfast, and set her up within about 5 minutes, got her ID verified, bank account done. And then she just moved, a couple of $1,000s on the spot straight into AmberApp, and then showed her on her phone, Aqua at that stage with Lightning, send it out to Lightning as well. And that's the first way. And with Aqua wallet in particular, is just plenty of wallets do it, but there's a couple of reasons I like Aqua, like their Dolphin card and things like that. If people know, they know. But with it, the wallet will give you your 12 words, so you can say back up now or back up later. That gets people into the habit of writing down the words straight away. They've sort of put it in the proof of work. Obviously 24 words, it's not twice as strong as 12 words, like multiple times on the 12 words. For a couple of $1,000s or a couple of $100, whatever someone's willing to carry around in their wallet, basically, that's okay on your smartphones. That's fine. For me, that's 8 to 10 grand. Anything over that, if I lost my phone, I'd probably be pretty pissed off. But with Aqua as well, you just need to put those 12 words into your new phone or whatever, and you can get it back. But I would never ever hold more than that, because if I lost, if I lost a wallet with 10 grand, I'd be like pretty pissed off. But if I lost a wallet with 20 grand, I'd be like, what are you doing? So did that, got it set up and into that, and then once she moves like a larger amount of funds, because she's got a lot of stocks and stuff like that, we've been communicating back and forth, then I'll direct her to Tony and the team at the Bitcoin Way. So they're like a company, an organization that mentors people on how to do it properly. So then it starts to get it's not complicated. It sounds complicated and it feels complicated at the start, but you need to run your own node, which is like a tiny little computer that verifies the Bitcoin blockchain, and it allows you, when you're sending Bitcoin or you're receiving Bitcoin, that only you really know about it. That's one thing that leads to your privacy, pseudonymity. With it, your sovereignty by running a node. And then you need like a hardware wallet, which is Bitcoin only. It's air gapped, it's verified, it's open source. And then to be able to connect all of those and then put it into deep, dark, cold storage, and whether you're setting up like multi-sig or the inheritance planning and stuff. So then I recommend people to that, because in my opinion, they're the best people in the world to teach people. And they don't so with Bitcoin, those 12 or 24 words, they're called keys, but basically your password. They never see your password, they never touch your password, they won't ask you for your password or whatever. They'll just teach you or mentor you how to create that password, how to be able to protect that password, which is your private keys, and get it. So that once you learn Bitcoin properly, and I think there's a couple of stages and I'll sum it up shortly, then nobody can get in the way. It's true freedom money. And then again, it comes back to CBDCs and digital IDs. We need to have sovereign money with the way just that the world's going, more and more and more control. So the steps are buy Bitcoin on the exchange, which is the process bank exchange. From there, set up a hot wallet on your phone. Lightning's the quickest way, but from AmberApp to Lightning, write down those 12 words on the phone as well as a bit of a test. And then as people start to save, and they just need to put a little bit in, whether it's $100 or $50 or $1,000 or whatever, because then you're going to be like, $50 is turning to $46. What's going on? I better read the book. At least then you're invested into it and you're going to put in the work. Or, for someone that's got $100,000 sitting in cash, maybe they need to put in 5 to 10 grand straight away just off the bat. But if someone's only got $1,000 or $500 in savings or less than that, enough to make him pay attention to it. So it could be $50, whatever it is, and then get them. It's up to them what they do, but just sort of encourage them to read the books, but then be consistent every 2 weeks or every week or whatever. And then I'll tell that story that I've done it for 5.5 years, the last 5.5 years, every two weeks. to be able to do it, but it's never about getting rich quick. But I think that's sort of the process to get someone to self-custody in a fairly quick amount of time.
If you guys don't understand, like if I just simplify it for you, what he essentially meant was, let's go like dial down really easy. If you have a bank account, you have a bank account and you have your app on your phone, do you give the password of your phone, like of your app, to your next door neighbor or your gym buddy? You don't. Why? Why would I share my password to anyone else? My bank account. They'll just take away my money or they can do anything. It's the same thing. If you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, yes, you can log into the exchange. You will see, oh, yes, the Bitcoin is on there. Yep, it's at whatever price. You do not have control over it. You do not own that asset. If the exchange collapses tomorrow, they will shut down. You will not have access to your Bitcoin. It has happened in the past. It can happen again. The best practice is buy the asset and move it into cold storage. When we say cold storage, it is your personal wallet. So, you preferably want to have a Bitcoin only wallet, something like a cold card here. Prior to that, I used to use these, like Ledger. These are all cold wallets. Safer, yeah. Don't use the these ones, and then there's the card ones, Tangent. Personally, I do not have had any issues with them. Nothing. I didn't lose anything from it. But again, they're not secure. If anything else not open source, if there is a backdoor on it, somebody can get access to your wallet, then your coins are, or your sats are not safe. So self-custody is key. It is important, right? And yes, Sean, thanks for bringing out about the Amber app. Huge shout out to the Amber app team. They are awesome. I also had a very positive experience with that. And I think it's through you I got to know about them anyway. And I had a long chat with Paul as well. Paul was super cool.
He's
so guys, yeah, they're doing a great job. Amber app, if you download the app, the interface is so good. The UI and UX is so easy to understand. And they have this set up that every 30 days, if you provide your wallet address, your cold wallet address, they'll automatically transfer that to your personal address. So probably put in a link in here if you want to go and have a check. Go to the Twitter, ask them questions. They're very helpful. People who've been in the space, they're Bitcoiners who have made the app for Bitcoiners. So it's really, and it's a Bitcoin only exchange. So that's like the best thing that I like about it. Apart from that, I do use CoinStash. Any preferred exchange for you, Sean, apart from Amber as of now?
Yeah, so Amber's what I use for personally and for my self-managed super fund. When it comes to the company and we're moving larger amount of fiat and stuff like in bigger chunks, then I'm using Stormrake, which is Bisha. So they're the two things. And what I really like about Stormrake is when I'm talking to it, like literally sometimes I'll be in the bath and I've gotten a text that the fiat money is deposited into the Stormrake account. You can either jump on there yourself, order it, or you can send an email. But I love just getting on the phone and calling Bisha and being like, hey, Bish, can you deploy it? And he's like, how much? All of it on Bitcoin, let's go. And then he's like, cool, done. This is your price, locked it in. It's just going through that process to be able to call up on the phone. Bish is a great guy, really understands Bitcoin, understands crypto as well. But they're like Australia's biggest Bitcoin brokerage firm, fastest growing as well. Like just incredible. And when it comes to like larger amounts of fiat and stuff, really cost effective and very easy way to be able to do it from there. But yeah, when it comes to dollar cost averaging, or when I'm buying like every week or every 2 weeks, the Amber app just on repeat. I like that because there's no distractions. Like I call Bisha, I'm saying buy Bitcoin, I'm not looking at anything, or I'm going into the Amber app and it's Bitcoin only. And I went down the altcoin route and I profited from the altcoin route. So I walked away with cash, with gains and stuff. And that doesn't happen to 99.99% of people. And I still hate it. And I wish I didn't waste that time, because even though I made that money, I didn't learn any skills that provided any value to society. So I
Mm.
made it. That's great. What did I do? Saving in Bitcoin. Okay. I still don't have enough Bitcoin. What do I need to do? So that 18 months that I spent, I could have been 18 months ahead in the company. The company could have started 18 months ago, which has been life changing. But then I needed to be like, okay, now I need to like really stack skills hardcore to be able to get out of the situation. So I don't need to draw down on that money that I've just made. I need to be able to go out to be able to provide value to be able to earn more. So like when it comes to Bitcoin and sort of this whole conversation, John, everything takes effort. Like nothing, it's not going to be handed to anyone, but it's not really hard. It's just consistently showing up. Like today I'm going to read one chapter of the book. Tomorrow I'm going to read one chapter of the book. Today I'm going to buy $5 of Bitcoin. Tomorrow I'm going to
Amen.
buy $5 of Bitcoin. And okay, then what do I need to do? I'm going to learn to be able to take self custody. How do I do that? I need to watch a video. I need to be able to talk to someone. Like, okay, so then I take self custody. I order a node. I order a hardware wallet. It's not hard, but it's just moving forward like one day at a time, one step at a time towards whatever goal it is, whether it's within Bitcoin or your health, your relationships, your spirituality, or whatever. But I think that's the greatest thing that after a while people take away from Bitcoin, even if they're already good at goal setting and like working towards their purpose. It really refines and sharpens and it slows you down so that you're thinking clearer and you've got like a straighter direction or a greater aim point. And even though it feels like you're moving slower or more methodical, you accelerate like where you end up at each milestone, which is like it's amazing that happens sort of again by osmosis with Bitcoin. But it's not,
Am-
Bitcoin's not even complex. It's just time and information and work.
Amen to that. Like when people get distracted into altcoins and stuff, and I get it, the lure of fast returns, and you were one of the lucky ones who probably got out with gains.
But I
A
don't
few,
talk about it very often
a few people to
because
win.
most people don't. And
That's
like
right.
that's fucked up. Whereas
Yeah,
Bitcoin, everyone can win. All you need to do
absolutely.
is
A
just
hold,
get more and more and more and more and more and more and hold. Hodl.
hold,
Hold on for
huddle.
dear life.
That's
Like
right.
that's it. And then everyone wins. And that's the society I want to live in. The world's pretty crazy. Like there is some just wild stuff happening on planet Earth. But just even if you just take the broken money, people work hard, they exchange their time, their life force, who they are, the best years of their life while they're young, while they've got energy, while they've got youth, while they've got beauty, to be earned this money. So they're trading life for paper currency, monopoly money, candy wrappers. It stores no value. Well, now we can just save in Bitcoin and then we can do whatever we need to like, and that just allows us to come back and takes that weight back off.
And slowly, and the information is getting out there. There are much more people now who are understanding it at a more deeper level than a few years ago. So we will hope that more and more people will realize that this any currency, whichever country you're in, your currency is going to fall. It will fall eventually. It will fail. It is destined to fail, and that's just how it is. And the sooner you understand that, the better it is for you and your family. Of course, talking on SMSFs, that's another thing, guys. Like Sean, my wife and I also, we have moved our industry super to our self-managed super fund. The only reason is because we can actually have control of where our money is being invested in. And obviously, I'm not telling you what you need to do with your things. I would only do to what I would do with mine, but at least I can buy Bitcoin with that, and I have control of that in my own personal custody, right? There are many people in the space. If you listen to podcasts, and I'm pretty sure Sean has also done a couple of videos with guys who help people with their setting up their SMSF. Was it, I don't know, Udo, or yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
you do.
yeah. So, yeah. So
hit his page and like, link up if you want to go down that route. Yeah, so that's an
John,
option.
can I quickly just talk about self-managed super funds? Because I
Yeah,
think
please.
it's like the greatest glitch in the matrix at the moment. I think it's amazing. So
Go for it, bro.
Not financial advice, but I think this is an incredible opportunity to at least learn more information. The reason being is the superannuation system in Australia. Everyone in Australia, you'll understand what I'm saying, but just for the international audience, it's like a retirement account, Roth IRA, 401k account. But anyway, we call it superannuation. Every pay cycle, whether that's every week or every fortnight or every month or whatever, people are getting paid on a salary, part-time, full-time, etc. 12% of their wage goes into this retirement account, superannuation. Now, the majority of people have what's called an industry super fund. So it's an organization and they will invest on your behalf, and they can invest into whatever they want to invest in. So like a lot of net zero, big pharma, the military industrial complex, for example, they're the things that I disagree with. That's why I brought it up, but they could invest in stocks, bonds, whatever. Real estate trusts and things like that. To be able to generate a return, to be able to pay out in your retirements. And then when you get to 60, 65, they keep moving sort of the age up, you'll be able to draw off that. They're returning over the last 10 years, I think the best return is like 18% or something like that. And that was the best in the last 10 years. Anyway, what the Australian government allows you to do, and again, I can connect you with people who go talk to your financial advisor and accountants if they understand Bitcoin. You can change that. Not even change that, but you can set up what's called a self-managed super fund, which is sort of like its own entity, a company. Basically, you're setting up like a company trust structure. You're the director of it. And what you do is you close down your superannuation account and what it's called a rollover. So they'll sell everything, they'll liquidate, and you'll have a cash position. For a lot of Australians, that could be somewhere from like $1,000 to a couple of $100,000. For the average person, I reckon it's sitting over $100,000 if you've been working for 10, 15, 20 years. Pretty easily build it up, but you can't touch it. But once you move it over to a self-managed super fund, then the money's just deposited into a bank account under the superannuation name. Now, you can't spend it for yourself. You can't use it to enrich your life. This is your retirement funds. But now you've got control of your retirement funds. And what I've done, what John's done, what many people that have gone down the Bitcoin rabbit hole have done is use that cash to buy Bitcoin. So usually when it rolls over, you initially deploy all of it into Bitcoin. At least that's what I did. And then every 2 weeks when I pay myself from the company, I also process the superannuation. So that arrives every 2 weeks into my self-managed super fund account. And then I just DCA into Bitcoin every 2 weeks with that as well. Some organizations will put those super payments into your account every 3 months. That's still 4 large buys per year, but it's basically that 12% instead of it going to somewhere where you have no control. For me, I put it into Bitcoin. For other people, they could put it into real estate, gold, silver, or whatever. There's rules and you have to stay compliant and stuff. And that's why I paired up with Udo Super Fund. We can put a link, the first call's free, just to be able to get more information. But you want someone that understands Bitcoin or the asset that you're going into if it's not Bitcoin, and then how to stay compliant, because there's a lot of laws and legislation and stuff around it. And this is money that you're taking control of for your retirements. And then with Bitcoin, you can hold it in self-custody. The self-managed super fund can pay for services like the Bitcoin Way and stuff to be able to teach you, to be able to protect that as an expense for that super fund, to be able to protect that generational wealth. So then you're not going to lose it. It's not going to be confiscated, etc. And it's not being invested into something that you don't agree with or you have no control, or that's just unperforming inflation. And so that's the super side of things out of the way. And just something that you said earlier, John, in regards to currency around the world, you said eventually they'll all fail. Australia's got a really strong currency, fiat currency, when it comes to things. And we've still lost 50% of our purchasing power in the last 5 years. So it's already happening. It's here. It's already happening. And people are like, oh, Bitcoin's too volatile. For Bitcoin to go from $100,000 to $1 million, over the next 5, 7, 10 years, if it takes that long. It's not going to just be like straight up. Of course, it's going to be volatile. Bitcoin has a volatile asset, but it's volatile to the upside over time. And it doesn't even take that much time, but it takes knowledge to get the conviction that Bitcoin's not broken and it hasn't changed. And then all the hit pieces and the distractions and the fear, uncertainty, and doubt and stuff. It's not real. What's Bitcoin? Is it still working? TikTok next block? Yes. Okay. That's it. But to get there could take a couple of 100 hours of study and stuff. But I think dip your toe in and then just keep dipping your toe and you're just going to soak up more and more.
Guys, when we say proof of work, that's actually, it's related to how Bitcoin is mined and created and all that. But proof of work, it's not just that, it mirrors your life. So real effort, real cost, real value. There's no shortcuts, right? Just like fitness, you have to give in your best, right? So Bitcoin influences how you work, how you spend, how you invest, how you plan. It encourages sovereignty and meaningful living. It helps you teach your kids about saving, scarcity, value, and personal responsibility. You show them what hard money really means, not the $100 bill that 10 years ago could buy you an entire household grocery for a week, probably. And this, what do you get for $100? You just go to Kohl's or Woolies just for one, like, just to buy a couple of things, and you get a few things in your cart. It's already $100. And you realize that
2 kilos of steak. That's what you get for $100.
You're done. And so apply the DCA strategy, the dollar cost averaging strategy. If you do not want to put, huge amounts in there, you can have small, consistent buys over long periods, which will outperform trying to time the market. So if you're not someone like that, you shouldn't be timing the markets anywhere. You should just spend the time in the market rather. Just accumulate it, zoom out of it, right? Bitcoin rewards patience, right? Focus on your long-term conviction, not your daily price movements. You will hear a lot of FUD. FUD, when we say FUD, it's fear, uncertainty, and what is it?
Doubt.
Sorry.
Doubt.
Brain freeze there. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So, environmental FUD. All right, Bitcoin's a disaster to the environment. It's consuming too much energy. Oh, the governments will ban it. Oh, it's too volatile. No, just educate yourself and that FUD will go away. And yes, do not leverage Bitcoin. Do not stay away from leverage, guys. It's probably very tempting. It's gambling, going on leverage on Bitcoin. Stay away from that, right? You will most likely 99.9% lose your money. Beginner mistakes that you don't want to do is filter all these noise. Stick to Bitcoin only educators. I'm just saying all these things in the interest of time, and like Sean has to go, had a few other things to talk, but that's all right. We will have obviously many detailed discussions on cold storage and stuff like that. But remember, guys, stick to, as Sean mentioned, Bitcoin only educators. Avoid hype trading. Shit coins are all coins, and influencers shilling the new nonsense. Start with a small amount and don't overcomplicate it, right? Stay humble, stay curious, buy Bitcoin, hold your own keys, and think long-term, right? Sean, anything you want to add before we wrap up for the day today?
Maybe just like a super quick recap. Bitcoin, it's not complicated. It's pretty easy, but you do need to put in the work, like the big print. It's absolutely incredible. Read, listen to it. Really easy way to be able to buy Bitcoin is AmberApp. John should be able to have a link for himself where if you use that link, they will give you $10 of free Bitcoin if you deposit $100 Australian. So that's 10% for free. You can also get on the phone with Paul, who can help you get set up in 5 minutes. It's really it's so easy. It's amazing. They'll hold your hand to be able to do it. And then if you use an app like Aqua Wallet, AQUA, it'll ask you back up now or back up later when you're in a room where there's no cameras, no listening device and stuff, there's nobody peering over your shoulder, etc. You say back up now, write down those 12 words, and then delete that wallet off your phone, open it back up, and then put those 12 words back in. If you get the same wallet, it's good. Then you can move a little bit of funds from Lightning on AmberApp onto that wallet, see it's there. If it arrives there, then delete those words again and then put them back into your phone. And if that amount of Bitcoin's still there, like, well done, you've passed the first thing. You've learned the principles behind taking self-custody. And then it's just like repeat more and more and more, get more Bitcoin, do that. As you get to bigger stacks, learn how to take proper self-custody to start to become sovereign by running your own node, using a hardware wallet. And like you were saying, the CoinKite, the cold card, it's incredible, it's amazing, it's complex, and it's advanced hardware wallet, like Tony the Bitcoin Way. They can teach you how to use something like that. Like that's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket. If you want to go to that extreme, they can teach you in a very simple to easy understand way. Otherwise, there's like foundation device and stuff, which Bitcoin only, air gapped, open source. A little bit maybe user friendly, a little bit more familiar. Doesn't have as many advanced features on there, so it just depends what level. But again, like the Bitcoin Way, or there's tutorials out there. The self-managed super fund is a huge opportunity. And one thing on that is Bitcoin's at say like $130,000 Australian today, roughly. A lot of people like, I'm never going to get to 1 Bitcoin. The reason the self-managed super fund's a great opportunity is it's the biggest pot of money that most Australians have just sitting there that they don't have access to, that will give them the chance, the opportunity to get as close to 1 Bitcoin in a very short period of time. But again, not financial advice. You can talk to like Simon from Udo. I'll provide John a link to be able to connect to it. But just like get creative, because if you can get to 1 Bitcoin, you're going to change your life. That's generational wealth. You just need to hold on to it for a long time. And if you can't get there and you get to point one's still going to be a house in say 10, 15 years, if not, and that's $9,700 today, or $30 Australian. It's just time. And even if I'm only half right in the price predictions, like that's still good. It's not complicated, takes a little bit of time, but you can do it. And it's really important to take self-custody, because it's something we didn't touch on. But digital IDs and CBDCs are coming, and maybe you've got nothing to hide, but they can manipulate things. We see it in China, and we saw it to a lesser extent in Canada with the truckers' protest. Just Google those things and see what happens when the government disagrees with something. Even though that something was allowed, protesting was allowed, didn't agree with the protest as such. We're just going to take their money, their livelihood, which is their time. Going back to that conversation, they're stealing their life. With Bitcoin, you can opt out of all of that and life keeps getting better. But John, thanks very much.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely right, Ryan. Just adding on to that, I'm sure you've had the similar experience too with banks. I had so much, like, to a point where I used to, like, I was so upset with Combank, or, just I've been questioned for asking to move my money, like, 10K, I want to move 10K, regardless of the amount. Why do you want to move it? Where do you want to move it? Is anyone else telling you to move? And I'm like, I am authorizing you
just give me
in
my
full
money.
control. Like, I am the one who's taking this decision. Please let that money go, right? And they're like, no, we're going to hold it for 24 hours. Or money that you worked, you spent your time and energy to get the fiat, and that's been held hostage by an entity. It doesn't make sense anywhere. It doesn't. So why would you want to do that? You wouldn't want to have an asset that you can control wherever you want to, regardless of which part of the world you're living in. You're traveling. You cannot carry bricks of gold, suitcase full of cash, but you can carry your Bitcoin in your core wallet. The seed words these days, and Sean has done videos on microseed. Microseed is a device where you can use to capture your seed phrases. So back in the time, like earlier, there used to be seed phrase. Has to be stored in heavy metal blocks like these. These heavy, cumbersome, and definitely get flagged, and people know what this is. Now it's more like they're like, you can actually put your thing on tiny washers like these, right? This is, and like they give you these stamping kits, and Sean has done a video, and you will with Daniel from Microsoft, and I think Robin was there too. Robin say, yep. So just do that, and now there's information at your fingertips. There are that like companies like Bitcoin Way. There are people to help you. There's SMS of people to help you. So take control, guys. Take control. So, stack sats, build strength, and own your life. Simple. It's as simple as that. It's not very complicated. So, Sean, I thank you so much. We will have hopefully another one, and I'll
For sure.
try to get Robin and you go and like bombard each other. I'll probably moderate just in between. It'll be
Sounds
fun.
good.
Thank you so much for your time and energy, man, today. And I won't hold you because you got to go. The waters are calling you. And yeah, go enjoy the waters. This was an amazing conversation, a good start for the channel and for all the listeners or anyone who will watch. I will leave Sean's information where he can be reached at, his Twitter links and other links that we spoke about, like Amber and SMSF and stuff like that. Plus like the devices and seed storage, all that. But if Sean, you want to let the listeners know if there's any other platforms for them to reach out to you, you just send that through to me. I'll add that as well.
Easy.
We need to get as much people on board. Sean is an amazing guy. He wants well for everyone. He's one of the rare ones in the space, guys. So thank you once again, Sean. Thanks for your time and energy today, and you have a blessed day, my friend.
Thanks very much, John. Appreciate it.
Take care, brother. Cheers.